Tracy, it's okay. My own mom has gotten my name wrong twice now, so I've given up trying to complain about anyone getting it right or wrong. Oh, okay. So, hi there, everybody. Hi. My name is Elisa Griffin, and I am absolutely honored to be here with everyone today. I am the founder of a local service group called Access Mob Pittsburgh, which is dedicated to improving the accessibility of the city of Pittsburgh through positive measures, economic incentives, education, and advocacy. I co-run an effort called Ballots for Patients, which in 2016 saw 70 volunteers across 9 hospitals in the Pittsburgh region collecting emergency absentee ballots from patients, most notably new mothers, who couldn't make it to their polling locations on election day. I'm also, as Tracy said, a proud member of ADAPT, a national disability organization that fights for the constitutional rights of people of all abilities. So, just do this by screams here. Did anyone see a video this summer of a protester getting shoved out of their wheelchair by police? That was me! So, yeah, that was at a protest in Columbus, Ohio, fighting to save Medicaid. So, this November was my first time voting at my new polling location in Uptown, which is about a mile that way from where we are standing right now. At my old location, I had to fight with the judge of elections to set up their accessible ramp because he claimed I should be able to lift up my walker and climb up the step to enter the building. Needless to say, it was with great trepidation that I approached the accessible entrance to my new polling location. The photo that I took of the accessible entrance, in air quotes, went viral. If you haven't seen it, picture a step to a landing that goes to a narrow door that's up another step. There's a portable ramp set up on the lower step and another portable ramp leaning against the wall next to the door. To get in, I had to ride my scooter up the first ramp, which was steeper than allowed by the Americans with Disabilities Act, and pound on the door. I then had to back down that same narrow ramp so that the volunteers could open the door and set up the second ramp that was even steeper than the first. When I tried to enter the building, the second ramp was so steep that I couldn't get my scooter in, and we had to wait for someone strong to pass by and give me a push because volunteers at my location were really frail and not able to do so. Sorry. Getting out of the building after I voted was even worse because the ramp wasn't secured to anything and it fell seconds after I made it down. If these were isolated events, I wouldn't be up here today. But this is a far-reaching national problem, and it's more prevalent than anyone here realizes. According to a study done by the U.S. Government Accountability Office, or GAO, at the 2016 election, 60%, and that's 60% of polling locations assessed had at least one impediment for voters with disabilities, such as a lack of accessible parking, steep ramps, a lack of proper signage, and degraded surfaces on walkways and parking areas. Further, 65% of interior voting areas had impediments to casting private independent votes, such as not being equipped for wheelchairs to reach machines or not having audio versions of ballots for people who are blind or visually impaired. Only 44 states report having accessible standards for polling locations, which means that there are 6 states that do not have standards in place. That's more than 10% of the country. And despite laws like the Americans with Disabilities Act and Help America Vote Act, there is not a nationally accepted guideline for what constitutes an accessible polling location, and no requirements anywhere in the country for trained inspectors to assess how truly accessible polling locations actually are. Now, it's probably my inner cynic thinking this, but I'm betting that there are a few people in the crowd today wondering why they personally should care about whether or not people with disabilities can vote. Apart from the obvious answer, because it's the right thing to do in order to have a true democracy, to those of you who still need convincing, I have one question for you. How can you personally 100% guarantee to me right now that come December 6th, you won't be disabled? Because no matter who you are, where you're from, wait, that's a song, isn't it? No matter how impervious you think you are to life's challenges, whether you're rich, poor, black, white, orange, all you have to do is trip on some cruddy broken sidewalk and break your hip, or get in a car accident and lose your vision. And if that happens to you, you want the world ready for you when that happens. Fortunately, whether you're currently abled or not, or whether or not you know people with disabilities, there's something that all of you can do. If you see something, report the hell out of it. Do what I did. Take a photo and email it to the voting commission or the county executive, your local representatives, tweet it, Facebook it, hell, send it to your news stations. In fact, I'm betting there's a great number of officials here today, either elected officials or political candidates. I'd say go up to them right now and say, making polling locations accessible is a priority for me, and I will not vote for you unless it's a priority for you as well. If you don't want to go up to them today, if you don't know them that well, schedule a meeting, email, do a phone call, and in fact, I'm going to issue my own personal challenge. I have voted in every single election since I turned 18 because I personally believe that you don't get to whine about politics unless you tried to do something to change things. And I will not vote for anyone here today unless you can prove to me that you consider the voting rights of all citizens to be a priority. So remember, you are not just fixing the world for me. You're creating a safety net for yourself and for your family, for the friend you came here with today, and the stranger next to you who hopefully by the end of the today will be your best friend. Before we go, I want to put out a brief plug. That'd be great if I had a pug just random. I have a cat, so she'd be mad. Before I go, I want to put out one brief plug. I mentioned Ballots for Patients earlier, and we are always looking for more volunteers. We are a nonpartisan effort looking for people of all political orientations to join us in ensuring that everyone has a chance to vote. If you're interested, please look us up on Facebook at Pittsburgh Ballots for Patients, or you can find our page at Access Mob Pittsburgh, and that's access like accessibility, mob like Al Capone. So I just want to say thank you so much to all you amazing people who came out today. It's cold, it's gray, it's Pittsburgh, I love it. And I just want to remind you that, come election, come May 15th, come November 6th, you have the power to make these changes happen. So go out there and do it.